Hey there, welcome back to Flywheel to Fab. I'm Blake and this is part 3 of my barbecue build. So it's crunch time. I have to have this done by the end of the month. In this episode we're gonna go from this to this. Stay tuned, you're not gonna wanna miss this. So I had a complete awful morning this morning. I was a couple minutes late for work. Kid forgot his swimming stuff, so I had to go back to drop it off at his school. Cop pulled me over to inform me my registration is out of date, but luckily Gabor, the Hungarian fab machine, has my back covered, so he's been extending the frame rails. And it's awesome when you work with a guy and you can just trust that he's going to get the job done right. Gabor also finished up getting these mirrors mounted, so we got a real nice little cope going in, held on with screws, nice and stable, nice and secure, perfectly straight and level. Oh, he did an awesome job. Thanks for rescuing my morning. Keep up the great work, Gabor. Appreciate all your help and what you do. So underneath the smoker right now, and I got the steering kind of dialed in. So it's just clamped on. We had to extend my pivot point out further. Went to a single pivot point off of the tie rod ends, which we lengthened 4 inches. Turn it. Clearance. Not having any binding, not having any issues turning it. So I'm gonna call that good. I'm gonna pop my pivot piece off because I actually want a 1-inch bend down there and down there. And then I can weld a receiver hitch tube to it. And then the tow bar will just work off of a standard receiver hitch. I'll clean up the stuff underneath here, pop this stuff off. I'm gonna get this bent. I'm gonna weld some stuff out and I'm gonna do some adjustments and then... So this has been adjusted. I set this camber to the exact same as the other side. I also set this angle to the other side, but very first, I leveled the truck. Then I was able to get accurate measurements. So these are to the 0.100th of a degree. And then this is 0.03 degrees off over camber. So hopefully the tire, all the weight just kind of allows a little bit of relaxation. While I was doing that, Gabor, he's welding out the frames, keeping those nice and straight. Back to work.
Move! Move! Move!
And there we have the bumper placed. So I set the height of the tires off of this spool, and the bottom of the tire was measured with a 3-inch piece of tubing. So this is a piece of 4-inch. So in relation, the bumper should be about 1 inch off the ground. Got a pretty tight clearance. Yeah. So my gaps are all right. Clearance the whole way. Nice and tight fit. Closes. Looks proportional. Looks pretty killer. So we now have bumper brackets cut out, adjusted ones. These are gonna kind of come up like that. This gets welded on the truck, it'll pivot. You have to allow everything to move and keep the pivot points up and far enough away that it doesn't interfere with the tire. Animal guard cut, ready to get bent. Got one fender cut, got the other one marked out, and I will zip cut it now. Fenders widened, welded up. One left to weld up. Gabor's been doing awesome on the front bumper here. Swings down nice, and when it pivots up, the flange here actually recesses into the bracket. So I've been trucking away on my fenders. I got, this one's just sitting up there. It's not actually mounted like that, but it's extended. The radius is changed, and I sanded out the marks from stretching the flange to change the radius. Clients came down, they had a look, they said this mirror's just a little too big, they want it to be smaller. So I got to take 2.5 inches off the height, and I got to take 1 inch off the side. Kind of sucks. Took a little wind out of my sails, but is what it is. Client's not happy, it's not right. Let's get the fenders on the truck. They added a few things that I have to do here, so long ways to go, short time to get there. Let's set up time lapses and enjoy the next few minutes of time lapses as I bust out a bunch of stuff. So where we finished off with the time lapse, I should have had that guy going on. Gabor was starting to work on the back end. Got the other fender on. I got my step mocked up and tacked together. Drew up these brackets, kind of look like a little stormtrooper, but now the axle is set in place. Got to straighten this stupid hub from Princess Auto. That's no bueno. This axle was quite stubborn as well too. It was a pain in the butt to get in there. We had to use a lot of spit. And sanding and persuasion to get them in, but she's in. Got our rear fender tubs cut in half. We're knocking off 4 3/4 off each one. Gabby's putting them together, just using some silicone bronze, and then that way we'll plenish them out and flatten them down, and then on the bottom half we'll take the radius out. Are you having fun? I'm gonna get suited up. Let's do some aluminum TIG welding and get those steps all finished. I got my steps with the mock air tanks up there. So I'm just waiting for customer approval before I finish welding everything out and get the brackets built to see, make sure it's okay. Gabor built some pretty wicked fenders, showed him how to use the shrinker stretcher, and we got the tires blocked up. I had to rebuild those hubs. We got from Princess Auto, and they're going all kittywampus on us. So cut them apart, re-welded them, got them bolted up. I got this radius cleaned up better. Got a little bit of a weld repair to do there. I've been working on this bracket on the front. It clears. So my gap is the nice and same down here. I have to clean this up and put a radius on it and make it look more like the factory one. Add a little fill piece here. Get it all cleaned up. So now I'm just working and doing it on this side. And then Gabor, he's coming up with something cool for the fender mounts back there. So I have these front trim pieces. I've matched the contour here. Don't worry about this deflection. The fender will be flat. So once the bodywork goes on there, then that'll fit nice and good. But now I need to shape this. I have both sides matching exactly. Clamped them together and I ran them on a belt sander. So they match exactly. And now I just need to put a whole bunch of contour in, because if we look at the model I was going off of right there, that's kind of what I'm going off. So I'm going to do my best to match this to that picture. Gabor's been killing it on the back fenders. We got it spaced off with some hose we had lying around. It's even. He's just coming up with these brackets. So these clients, they have their own line of stuff that they get manufactured for us, and this is their style of fender brackets that we make for them. So it's going to kind of go on like this. So it'll match all their other trucks, and they'll just get bolted to the frame. There. A little bracket. It's just pressure fit in here. I actually don't have any screws on it right now, but man, does that look good. So pop this off. There's the difference. This one's all sanded and blended and cleaned up. And just like that. And we're finished. Put these on, move on to those. All right, so it's actually the next day, and just been chipping away. These guys I ended up re-drilling and tapping and get them all bolted on. They look killer. Really sets off a good look to the whole front end of this truck. This step, welds are blended out, air cans on, mounts are on the back. Just got to trim them down a little bit so they clean up a little nicer. And then we're doing it to the last one there now too. Gabor finished up the fenders. Just a couple little things that I can touch up and they're going to be ready for paint. The back end of the frame is all notched. But I lost Gabor. He's gone now. He's on to bigger and better things. He's still right there. He's just on a different project. He's back on his own stuff rather than helping me out. Let's have a moment of reflection for Gabor and all the wonderful things. Yeah, he'll be back on this. I'll be getting his help. So you'll see him again. So let's set up a time lapse and I'll finish this last step. Fuel tanks are on, looking pretty sharp. Here is my finished punch list. So I'm gonna start chipping through this as fast as I can. First things first, I want to start on this one. Fill in the bottom of the cab under the air cans and clean up the fenders. So I'm just gonna extend down here, extend this down, and I get a kind of a slight curve to kind of match the 389s. Clean up fenders, fill in bottom underneath air cans. That's that piece right there. So now let's move on to electrical plugs. Got to mount this one. This is where all the power is going to input. It's going to go into this plug, and then the smoker and the inline fan will be plugged into here, and then power is going to go out, and then there's going to be another female receptacle back here where they could plug whatever they want into back here. Electrical plugs done. I think I'll move on to the trim ends of the front bumper now. All right, trim the ends of the front bumper. That one's done. That makes a huge difference when that radius is being folded a little better. I got the replacement mirrors on, so these ones are a bit smaller. They're 5 inches wide by 9.5 inches tall. The other ones were 12 by 6. I was doing that while I was waiting for parts. Got a whole bunch of parts off of the laser and they've been broke up. These are going to be my tabs to receive these guys. They'll go in like that. These are spacers. They'll get welded on these, and the whole thing will be flush on the end like that. New mirrors. They're done. There. Grease trap. That's done. Just made it out of a light gauge stainless. It tucks in from underneath here. Pops right up. And sits in, and then I'm going to drill and tap a little hole here. And then you can hand thread in a little cap screw. Clip-on shelf for smoker. Make spot for clip-on shelf. There we go. Those two are done. Shelf slides in the back here. Tucks out of the way. See if I can do this one-handed. Clips on. Pretty sturdy. Pops off. And everything closes. Now I've just been working on the grill, so when I bring you back, we'll be in the laser welder working on that grill. Now my next major thing is to finish the actual front grill. So I'm gonna pop this aluminum piece off, clean it up a little bit. Okay. So we're in the laser booth right now. I've got Gabor giving me a hand. We are going to weld in this grill. Fuck, this machine's awesome. Any of you old guys watching this and you're just like, I don't think it'll work. It does. Done with the front grill, so let's move on to the cooking grill. I just had to take a minute to just take this in. I'm exceptionally proud of how all this is turning out. I think that grill looks amazing. Once it's all polished and painted black in behind it, and then it's just going to be such a focal point. So every bit of aluminum on this truck gets polished. Every bit of mirror finish also gets polished as well. I'm just waiting on the lights and the light brackets that the other guys wanted to build themselves, and then I can get them bolted up, because I won't want to do any drilling and bolting and fixing after everything's been polished and painted. I'd rather do it now. Just have to take it in once in a while. Be proud of what you've done. All right, so I got half the grill done. Slides over. I'll meet roughly in the middle. I want a little bit of a gap so it's not bar versus bar. And then, yeah, let's go build the other one. I got the lights and brackets here, so I just got to mount them. Front grill is done, cooking grill is done, flex pipe after paint, final welding. Those are getting drawn up. Stiffener lid, that'll be after. Receiver hitch is welded, tow bar is done. Electrical plugs are here. I got my lights and brackets. So all I have to do is, I just want these brought out a little bit, and then I got to move this over here. And then I need a temperature dial there. They want a little shelf up here, a little warming shelf. They also dropped off their headlight brackets. So I'm gonna have to mount these guys on somewhere around here. Back on the truck again today, finishing everything up. Started off, I got some of these little ovals made, marked my hole, drilled it, marked my fender holes. Our laser was down. Needs some new parts. So I just got paper templates and I'll be able to build those later once this is off to paint. So now I can finish checking everything off. Lights and brackets done. It's all ovals. Well, those aren't quite done, but my holes are drilled. Wait, got that. Trim up the animal guard. I'll do that as I'm taking everything apart. But right now, the only thing I'm really left waiting on is my fuel tank coolers. I don't have the tanks, I don't have my brackets, but I'll be able to build them all and then get them painted and install everything after paint. So it's just a little more inconvenient doing that way, but it's still doable. So for now, I'm just gonna start disassembling this truck and getting it ready for paint. All the aluminum's gonna come off, all of the stainless is gonna come off, all of the chrome work's gonna come off, and then lower the truck down to the ground and steer it out of here and send it off for paint. Okay, so I'm about to break this down, get all the aluminum off to polish, get all the stainless that's been welded off to polish, all the chrome works off, get it broke down ready for paint, and get it sitting on the ground so we can get it towed out of here into the paint shop. But before we do, let's have one more look at it. All right, we're back. It's broken apart. It's on the ground. It rolls much easier than I thought it would, so that's awesome. But she's looking low. Can't wait to see what it's going to look like once it comes back from paint. So stay tuned. Next episode, we're reassembling this and firing it.